haven't heard from the dead in a long, long time. A long, long time. So this is going to be an interesting one.
It's about to change, ain't it? Game changer. So, good morning, everybody. This is February 3rd, 2014, or 14. Wow. Let's not get too behind. 2024. And this show is about AI comedians. It's going on 3 weeks now. I was just turned on to the fact that they did a AI special with the voice of George Carlin. And we're going to cover that today. We're going to go through what his daughter feels about it, Kelly, what the comedians, his fellow comedian, feel about it, and then the fans, us,
Yeah.
How are you doing today, John?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I was kind of looking through all this stuff, and I remember first hearing about it, I think like a week and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard about it because Will Sasso had posted, they had broke down the whole comedy special, and that was the first time I listened to it.
Okay.
And how he was breaking it down. I mean, he was saying some really positive things about it, and just really shocked, but at the same time, like the
Yeah.
obvious fears,
Yep.
the obvious fears that exist with AI and all that. And a couple days later, his daughter made the statement saying that no machine will ever replace his genius,
Right.
which is absolutely true.
Absolutely correct. Yes. True.
George Carlin, he, how do you say this? He was dubbed, what did they call him? The dean of counterculture comedians.
Okay.
And I think one of the first times I ever heard of him, he actually performed in my hometown.
Yeah, he's from that area.
Well, he's from
New York.
He's from Manhattan, yeah.
Yeah.
But the theater that he performed in was a place called Park Theater, and Park Theater was where we did all our Dare graduations, and actually the music video for Walk This Way by Aerosmith was filmed there.
Really? That's cool.
So that little theater itself is very special. I actually saw the group that played the Carmen Sandiego song.
Oh, yeah.
I saw them perform there when I was a kid too. So that little theater's got a little prominence to it. But one of George Carlin's famous specials was filmed there.
Huh. Crazy.
Let me see. Let me get you the exact. Yeah, so he did at Park Theater, Union City, New Jersey. I actually wasn't even born yet. I was born this happened 2 months before I was born.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so I mean the place was walking distance to where I grew up, and it's actually a really, really good comedy special. He did Reagan's Gang, Church People, American Values, Keeping People Alert, People I Can Do Without, and more stuff on cars and driving. So a lot of it,
is good material.
Yeah,
Standard material.
First, and when I think of George Carlin, I just think of how honest his comedy was, and that was the first instance of, like, in some perspectives, dark comedy. But for me growing up, it wasn't dark comedy. It was,
right.
To me, that's what comedy was. Speaking the truth about it and making jokes about it. And so I'll give you my thoughts real quick about what I thought of the special, and then I'll let you take the wings. I thought it was really good. I thought the AI was very aware, of the fact that it was an AI. Some excerpts were just like, oh, I know you've been waiting for this for a long time, but I've been dead, and then he makes another comment like, me, George Carlin, or whatever the fuck I am, which was another funny moment. So, like, there's an awareness to the AI that I thought that was super interesting. But what was also really interesting was that the cadence, it was almost perfect. Okay.
The cadence and everything. Yeah. Timing.
the cadence, the timing, the flow of words, the pronunciation,
Absolutely.
it all work together. But if you only listen to maybe 3 or 4 George Carlin specials and you close your eyes and you listen to this special from Dudesy, you would know that it's definitely not George Carlin because
Exactly.
the cadence is a little off,
Yep.
and there are some moments where AI George Carlin is just rambling, like just rambling.
There's even a part in this special where he says, if you're younger than 20, this is probably the only George Carlin you ever heard. So I am the real George Carlin to you. And that speaks truth to what uh, the modern day media's or,
Yeah,
society's like.
and all respect to the Carlin family, we're not, you know, w- we agree that the use of someone's likeness and voice, and I mean they had a whole strike about it just recently. There should be some financial payouts to the families
Yeah.
who are part of the family of George Carlin and whoever else that they use the likenesses for. I mean, I would like the same thing to happen for me if my likeness was used at any point in time. I want my family to be paid, and I hope that the same thing goes
Hmm.
with this with with this situation that's going on right now with the Carlin estate and Dudesy. Um, but the special is called George Carlin, I'm Glad I'm Dead. And what's interesting about the title is that probably in today's world, he probably would have felt like that. And
Yeah.
if he was still alive, he probably would have named that I Wish I Was Dead.
I believe his last special was kind of close to that. I mean, the last special he actually had, I don't remember the name of it, but it was just the theme in the background was a graveyard. So, I mean, it was on the brain. Um, One of the things I'd like to point out about all this too is this is not the first time a comedian has been manufactured, I would say. Uh, some of these comedians I was watching the reaction to of this George Carlin special were bringing up Max Headroom, and I thought that too. The fact that this schematic is nothing new; it's just evolved. If you were a kid or adult back in the '80s, you'll remember there was a little TV show called Max Headroom, and it was basically I forget if he was like a journalist or something, but it was derived from this guy. I actually don't remember a whole lot to tell you any kind of background on it now that I think about it. I just remember seeing the face and it was kind of glitchy,
Yeah.
which is how
He
it
he
was.
he was yeah, he was considered the first computer generated TV presenter.
Yeah. And then you fast forward to, actually, it was probably around the same time. I have a Bill Hicks CD or movie. I forget which one it was. And he's talking about there's a commercial in the '80s about smoking, and it's Yul Brenner. Yul Brenner, you young kids probably won't know, but he was a big movie star back in the day, a big bald headed dude like me. He did a lot of classic movies, but he died of lung cancer, I believe. So Bill Hicks had this thing going where he was talking about a commercial where they had Yul Brenner. He's dead, but they had him in this commercial, and he says, "Hi, I'm Yul Brenner, and I'm dead now, and I died from lung cancer." And Bill Hicks made a big joke about that. And then he also brought up the fact that you watch years from now, when I'm dead, Bill Hicks, they'll have something going on for him. And here we are. We're in this AI special that Bill or George Carlin even brought up, that I won't be the last one that they're going to try to do this to. Richard Pryor, Bill Hicks, Sam Kennison, it's just
To even modern
it's
comedians like Joe
yeah,
Rogan, Joey
Chris
Diaz,
Rock,
Shane
yeah,
Gillis, Chris Rock. I mean,
yeah,
but
this guy's
uh, it is very interesting. So what do you got? So what do you got on this? Because I know you were very excited to talk
well.
about this. So talk to
I
me,
just
man.
want to present it the three aspects of it. Like you got the family, which I thought we should bring up first, and then the comedians. I think of them as like the extended family to George because they
Yeah,
actually knew him a little bit. And then there's us,
absolutely.
the fans, where we really didn't know him, but we feel like we did. So I think that's a good way to go about it. There's not too much to really bring up about his daughter, other than if you go on Google, you'll see that she's suing, which I think she has a right to. I believe after someone's passed away, you have more than right to carry on their legacy and make sure it's used for good.
Yeah.
So I can see where she's going with it. She was really implying that it wasn't over money; it was more of the principle, which I get that. I don't sense that it was money with her at all,
Yeah,
really.
I agree. I agree with that too. I really do
She's looking out
think
for
it
her
really
dad.
is. Yeah, I mean, I don't think George Carlin would have agreed to this. You know,
No.
George Carlin, I mean, he was very optimistic and open about the things that were coming in the future. You know, he had his eyes open for that because he knew. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
used to talk about it all the time. I mean, he could have predicted. He couldn't. I'm pretty sure that he couldn't have predicted the fact that someone was going to use his voice into a computer and regenerate it for a comedy show.
Right.
You know,
I
I'm sure he would have predicted that. You know, and it's. But would he have approved? I don't think so.
yeah. I Let's say if he had, I think he would have had more involvement in it for sure.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
I mean, this series or this special, when you guys listen to it, from our perspectives, it got pretty good to the cadence, his style, his rhythm, and stuff like that. Um,
I want to say like 87%.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good number. I like that. Yeah, pretty good for AI, considering like last couple months, like when you played me that little excerpt of me doing a commercial or something from
Oh
your
yeah,
buddy.
which that yeah, that was from Brandon Wayner of You, Me, and Lore.
Yeah, yep. Uh, I think that reaction that I went through is the same reaction that people are going through with this kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
it weird wigs you out at first, hearing your own voice doing something that you know you did not do. And then I don't know if we just get accustomed to it, like cartoons or something. But yeah, I when I
That
heard
is
this,
interesting. That is interesting because like I do, I we are podcasters. We listen to our
yeah,
old stuff and we know like, oh yeah, that's us. We did that. And
yeah,
when it does come to that, yeah, no, you're right. Because when Brandon did show me that the first time, I was like, "What the hell?"
yeah,
And I mean, even myself, I mess with a lot of different, voice trainers and image
hmm,
generators and stuff like that. And I enjoy it. I think they're cool. But for ah, perfect example, I think
okay,
it's absolutely hilarious when they have these videos of the AI generated voices of the presidents like Bush, Clinton, Biden,
yeah,
Trump,
Biden, yep,
and they're
yep,
playing Call of Duty and they're cursing at each other. I think that's absolutely hilarious. And I think that's a
yeah,
really funny way to use AI to have fun with it. I don't, depending on the channel, I guess you're not being monetized for it, but it's funny.
yep,
I guess some people would take that as a defamation of character, but
yep.
we have disclaimers and we also have fact checkers and and things
Hmm.
like that. And I'm not talking about Snopes because we all know that Snopes is even inaccurate at times.
Which brings us to our next part is the comedians. Like, so I watched the special, and then I watched Kelly's reaction, his daughter, and then I watched a couple comedians, and I cannot remember their names, but it was just a little podcast where they sit down on a couch and talk to each other about it, and they had the same response as me and you, pretty much, that we really liked it at first. Now I'm going to say at first because I did. I really liked it. It was close, like 87%, like you said. And then I listened to Kelly's side. So like, and then I was split on it. Like you really have to think of her side of it and then the other side of it. The problem with being an artist nowadays is once you share something in the world, it's not totally yours. That was another thought I wanted to get out in my head too, is like
That's a very big
sharing.
perspective to look at too.
Hmm.
Especially with music. And I always
Yeah.
talked about this with music. There is
Yep.
so much music, but when is it going to come to the point that someone is going to write the exact same song? We have came to a point where people have used influential parts in their music to kind of mimic the sound and kind of toy with it. There
Yes.
have been times that songs have sounded exactly the same tempo,
Yes.
same guitar
There's been
rhythm,
lawsuits
what
over
have
that.
you. Yes, there has, and it's
Great example of that is Stairway to Heaven and this other band called Spirit. And it was over, Stairway to Heaven from Led Zeppelin and
yeah,
this other
and
band, Spirit.
like and these AI music generators and things like that. A lot of it's going to be hard to like copyright laws are going to be changing very soon,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to music. But the George Carlin was not a musician, so but he was
Artist.
yeah, a
They're
thought-provoking
going they're
artist at
going after
best. Yeah,
artists. That's the thing, is like I had another thought and I don't remember what it was exactly, but I've noticed when we are doing this AI stuff, it's all artists. And music, comedy, movies. That's the next thing. One of the things in this AI thing that it was talking about was having 24-hour news stations with your favorite dead comedian narrating the news for you, and that might not be far off if we don't keep things in check with the AI.
yep,
As
this is
much as that
true.
sounds entertaining, that might not be a good thing.
Yep.
Might not be. So yeah, there's the comedians. The comedians that I watched that talked about it, they seemed very impressed. I think even Joe Rogan might have had like a 10-minute opinion about it or thing that I saw.
He did. I
He
did
was
not.
just really surprised at it too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, go ahead.
incredible. No, it's incredible. I did watch that clip of Joe Rogan reacting to it. He was
Hmm.
just like, "Wow," and
Yeah.
he, it is incredible. But I want to know what's going to be next. But you also
Yes.
you had other
Yes.
points you wanted to bring up too.
Well, and that comes to us, the fans. Just being being that distant, just being a fan. You love his work. You would love to see more of it, but you also realize that the man's dead. He's mortal, and he has his own curriculum or leg of work, and we should be happy with that. But we always want more, don't we? It's like the Nirvana songs and stuff like that. Like I've read a lot of opinions, and I like what people say. Like, to me, I like them. The people that don't like them, I like reading about it because they explain why, and it does make a very good point when I read that kind of stuff. Is like, oh, what's the soul of creativity anymore if you can't have a body of work that's your own and then have something that's artificially mimicking it,
Yes, I
I
agree.
guess. So I
Apparently,
appreciate what the person's done. Go ahead.
so there's so much more about this that I'm finding out too. Um,
Hmm.
so apparently, it was not AI generated; that it was human written.
Yeah, Dudesy had, I think he used his voice and then do some like voice manipulations or whatever, and then he studied. Then he say he studied all of Carlin's specials, and then like developed his style of comedy, I guess, and then from there formed like a cadence to it. What do you got for me?
So it's saying in the lawsuit filed by Carlin manager Gerald Hamza in the California District Court that the Carlin estate points out that the special "I'm Glad I'm Dead," which was set to private on YouTube shortly after the lawsuit was filed, presents itself as being created by an AI trained on decades worth of Carlin's material. That
Hmm.
training would, by definition, involve making unauthorized copy of Carlin's original copywritten routines without permission in order to fabricate semblance of Carlin's voice and generate a Carlin stand-up comedy routine, according to the lawsuit. The defendant's AI-generated George Carlin special is not a creative work, the lawsuit reads, and in part, it is a piece of computer-generated clickbait which detracts from the value of Carlin's comedic works and harms his reputation. It is a casual
Clickbait.
theft of a great American artist's work.
Wow. See, they're taking it to an extreme, I think.
I
In
want
their
to
wording, in their wording, in their
in
wording.
the word. Okay, so I do agree the wording is a bit extreme.
Hmm.
Um, a not creative work, I can agree with that.
Right. Yes.
Because it is not creative. It is your God, this is an interesting conversation
I,
because it's
I
almost kind of
know.
like it's like we're flip-flopping now, because
Yeah.
this is interesting.
And you got to think if the record companies are not record companies, like the people that set up these comedy specials for comedians and stuff, uh, is it just the fact that they're not getting the money for this or something? I get where Kelly's doing it, but I don't know.
Now, do you agree that this detracts the value of his comedic work and harms his reputation? Now that I kind of feel like that part is a little extreme because I almost
Hmm.
feel like these are all the things that he would actually say.
Yeah, I think it's only
It's pretty
destructive if people
close.
forget about him. I think it's destructive if people forget about him. I think, like he was talking, this AI version, I got to keep saying that, kept saying, like, the millennials probably don't know me. And there's something wrong with that, man. There's just, when I was a kid growing up, I was so into so many things that were of my generation,
Same
like
here.
the beat generation, stuff like that. And
The
to have these kids
Beatles,
just, yeah, and to have these
you know,
kids nowadays have no idea of what we're talking about. None. Like, I'll segue. Okay, you don't know George Carlin. Do you know Richard Pryor? No. You got to be kidding me.
do you know
It's
who Andy
just certain.
Kaufman is?
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
just they're. I get that kids are into their own things nowadays, but what happened to knowing about art? Like, people used to know about baseball statistics. Like, that's how I was.
Yeah.
But
And I mean,
I don't
comedy,
know.
I'm still a huge fan of
Me
comedy right
too.
now. I mean, Ron White, Tony Hinchcliffe, Shane Gillis, Cat Williams.
Devin, what's his face? I can't think of his name now. He's a
Yeah.
Southern guy that's does pretty good
Eddie
stuff.
Eddie Murphy, and there are really, really amazing comedians out there. And as much as I did enjoy the George Carlin special, I I would enjoy it more if the estates of these families were a part of the process.
Absolutely. So maybe that's something they could work on down the road. And
They
it's the problem with technology. It's always faster than humans can keep up with it, legislative wise, or uh, to
Okay,
apply it in everyday life.
so last year, actually, in December, the Calm Sleep and Meditation app, they released bedtime stories featuring AI generated versions of actor Jimmy Stewart's voice.
Really?
Jimmy Stewart's family were a part of that process.
Ah, so
You
there's your
know,
difference.
they allowed it. They were okay with it, and it worked. And even, I have the article here. In the statement shared with New York Times, Reese Beecher said it was able to recreate Stewart's Western Pennsylvania phrasing by combining recordings from a voice actor with old clips of the Rear Window star, making sure all of the important tiny inflections were preserved. So the company
Huh.
who worked to produce Mark Hamill's voice of Luke Skywalker for The Mandalorian and James Earl Jones for Obi-Wan Kenobi said it does not allow its technology to be used for deceptive purposes. So as AI as AI technology, as improves, there has been an increased anxiety around the use of the deep fakes, and deep fakes were kind of like the big trend. And
Yep.
this happened, right before during the Mandalorian,
Yeah.
when it was coming out, because
Yep.
there was a, a group of uh, a group of artists and producers who deep faked Luke Skywalker into the show. But they also said that they know voice replication technology could be dangerous in the wrong hands. So the company says it's pledged to never use the voice of a private person or actor without their consent, but has used the voices of historical figures like Richard Nixon and Barack Obama to showcase the technology.
Hmm.
And I don't think it's that hard to get in contact with the Carlin estate. I mean, it's
Exactly.
especially if you want to do something interesting like this.
Yeah,
I'm and again, I enjoyed it. I
I did
enjoyed
too.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was thought provoking. I thought it was funny and thought provoking in many ways. Like I'm listening to an AI speak, and I'm
Yep.
listening to an AI speak these truths.
It's trying to not. It's not trying to do a homage to George Carlin because it doesn't. It's not aware of a homage yet. But I thought it was pretty
Yeah,
good in the style. You know, it's not. It's not George Carlin's soul. It's not. It's definitely not him. But
I agree. I agree. But yeah, I mean, this is it's an interesting topic to talk about, and it seems to be something that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks too, because it seems to be new and developing, and it's like, w- where do we go from here?
holograms are next. No,
Yeah,
I just seen something on. They wanted to try and do a concert of Nirvana and just have a hologram of Kurt Cobain playing with Chris Novoselic and Dave Grohl. And I
no,
saw that recently, and yeah, exactly. Because it's just going to be him from one of his last shows. I first of all, I don't think Dave or Chris would go for that, especially Chris.
now I know. This is it's wow. I can't. It's such an interesting topic, man. I don't even
Hmm.
know where to go with this, but
This is a philosophical one,
I'm right
which
in
is
the
what
middle with
comedians
it.
were.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the middle with this. I'm very much in the middle with this. I think the lawsuit does need to happen because
Yeah,
an example does need to be made regarding the copyright and infringement of people's likeness. I think that
yeah.
is super important. I mean, even us. I mean, we do a
Good point.
podcast about AI
Good point.
technology, and there's probably going to come a point. I mean, look, we Brandon sent us our own voices. He trained an AI
Yes.
and used it had the AI trained with our voices, and what's to say someone's going to do something shisty with us one day? So,
Yep. Could be. You never know.
but that's what
But that takes a lot of energy.
yeah, it
I'd
does,
like to
it
see him
does.
try. We're authentic.
Yep. But I mean, that's all I got. Do you have anything else, man?
No, that's just what I wanted to convey. I watched this and I was 2 weeks behind what happened, so I was really surprised that this happened without me being notified on my radar of AI stuff. But I'm glad it happened because it just brought so much up that I was thinking about my passion for stand up comedy is up there because that's one of the first things I remember growing up to was like watching all these funny comedians and being like, okay, that gets attention. Not that necessarily I was getting attention, but it was when you make someone laugh, it's a good feeling. And I laughed a lot when I watched these people, so I wanted more. So I'd go out and rent another movie of theirs, and it just opened the gate for me. And that's what I would wish it would happen to these younger people. Is if they listen to this, it would only turn them on to actual George Carlin material.
Yeah, and you know what?
That's what I
What's
would like to
interesting
convey.
too? Thank God for YouTube because there is even other than his
Yeah,
specials, you can find other stuff of him on YouTube. There's a ton of content out
there's a
there.
documentary that he just did, or someone did for him. And I can't remember the name of it, but it is a documentary about his life, and it was really good. I remember watching it, so you should check it out if you find it on Google or something like that.
Hell yeah! But yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys coming by. We are fans of ourselves and we are fans of you. Uh, do you want to give a shout out to the person who saw you?
Oh God, now I got to remember her name. She's gonna kill me. I believe it was Angie. It was an A name, Amber or Angie, something like that. I went to a party store this morning and I got recognized from our video podcast we do. So we're starting to get recognized.
Yeah, so it's nice, man. And I mean, I know that this one is going to be an audio one, but next week's episode and on, we are going to be doing more video podcasts so you guys could see
Yep.
what we look like and give some faces to our names. But again, guys, thank you so much for coming to the Artificial Mind. You guys are amazing. Make sure you check out some of the merch that's available. Really cool basic merch that would look really good on you. And we have a really nice t-shirt available too. Make sure you check that out. It's called Walking into the Weekend t-shirt.
I need
But
one of
yeah,
those.
yeah.
I'd be running the weekend though with my style.
Same here, man. All right. Well, you guys have a good one. Take care.
Have food. Peace.